Saturday. A lot of games. It's 14 today. So let's take a look at them. Carolina's in Winnipeg. And Winnipeg off back-to-back wins. Carolina lost their last game in overtime. That's going to be a really good game. Sadly, I worked till 5, which means I missed the first period of that. Florida's in Pittsburgh. Florida's won 2 in a row, and Pittsburgh's looked kind of normal the first 5 games of the year. If I was going to pick an upset, that might be the one I would pick, but that's just me. Likely Luongo. I don't know. Probably Luongo starting tonight, but they may be rotating. I'm not sure. The Rangers are at home against Jersey. So Jersey got woke up last night with the loss they took. And the Rangers, well, they can't really afford to lose much more. They can't afford to lose a lot of ground. This is the Metro Division. This is the toughest division in hockey. And if they continue dropping games, it's going to be a pretty darn near impossible task to fix this. St. Louis, coming off their first loss of the year, are in Tampa. Tampa's won 2 in a row. I really like Tampa. This is no secret. Braden Point has solidified their roster even further. Sergachev, been a lot of rants and raves about Sergachev, and rants of the good variety, not the bad variety. He has been playing very, very well for Tampa. And he has exceeded expectations of many and met expectations of others, but I haven't heard anybody say that he isn't good enough or that maybe he needs more time. No, Sergachev is a member of the Lightning, and it's one of those things that I question how things are going to go from here, because Montreal's at home to Toronto. Now, there are Montreal fans already calling for the firing of Marc Bergevin. Now, this is nothing new. Last summer, when PK Subban got traded out for Shea Weber, people were calling for blood. If Sergachev's the real deal in Tampa and Drouin struggles in Montreal, I don't know that Bergevin can save his job. And I really question what he's done with the blue line. Because if you have PK and Sergachev on that blue line right now, I think you have a better blue line than what they have. So, while, yes, they have trouble scoring, if your defense aren't fleet of foot and you don't have the depth back there, and look at Nashville as a good example, ironically. A really, really good defense can make up for a sort of mediocre offense. And Montreal had the makings of that with Sergachev. Fantastic, fantastic player. To me, it reminds me a lot of McDonough. How McDonough was, traded out by Montreal at a bad move. And look what he's become for the Rangers. And I think Sergachev has that kind of potential. Washington's in Philly. Oh, that'll be ugly. That'll be a nasty game. Philly, 2-2, and they're trying to prove that they're better than last year. And Washington, clearly there's a mission statement here by Washington that they're going to prove themselves finally. The irony is, the better Washington is, the higher they are in the standings, the more convinced I am they're going to lose again in the playoffs. That's the reality now. That's where we're at. Is that the better Washington is, the more convinced I am of, they're just going to gas themselves before the playoffs again. Colorado's won 3 in a row. They're in Dallas. I'm just letting this sink in. I've watched Colorado destroy the Bruins twice, and now they're in Dallas. So there's a theme here. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I wouldn't necessarily bet against it continuing. The Columbus Blue Jackets are in Minnesota in a meeting between expansion brethren. And those games are always fun. Of course, last year, famously, they met each other when they were on these huge winning streaks to determine who the best team that was streaking was. In the end, it didn't make a huge difference for the playoffs. In the playoffs, they still failed. But we'll see. We'll see who wins that game tonight. We'll see who's coming out of it with some momentum. Nashville. They've won 2 in a row. They're in Chicago. Chicago lost their first game in regulation. you know, this is going to be a telling game for Nashville. Are they still the team that beat Chicago in last year's playoffs? Is Chicago still the team that got beat in last year's playoffs? Chicago's going to come out for blood in this one. The Bruins have lost 2 in a row, but they're in Arizona. Arizona's lost 4 in a row. So, you know, throw a coin in the air and figure it out. I don't know. I'm not confident right now as a Bruins fan, so I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona gets their first win there. Calgary got squashed, and now they get to go to Vancouver. Vancouver's lost 2 after winning their first. And usually when a team gets squashed, they usually come back with a much better effort in the next game, and they very often win the next game. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens tonight, too. Ottawa's won 2 in a row. Edmonton's lost 2 in a row. Interestingly enough, Draisaitl's out. If Draisaitl's out, I mean, you know, we all talk about McDavid. Now it's a one-player team. Rightfully so, but Draisaitl's key, too. Draisaitl's a damn good player, and if he's out, it sort of nullifies the difference between the teams with Karlsson out for me. So I think it's going to be a close game. Buffalo's lost 4 in a row. They're in LA. Oh, I don't like Buffalo's odds in that one. I'm serious. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. It's funny. Eichel talking about, I don't like losing. I'm sick of losing. You just signed an 8-year extension. Suck it up, Buttercup. There isn't really anything else you can do other than go out there and win. You can't expect him to do it on his own. He's not Connor McDavid in terms of talent. I do think he's a very talented player. I mean, in 4 games, I think in 4 games he's got 4 points. I think he's still a point a game, which is damn good in today's game. We've got our expectations up to this level that when a guy plays really well, we complain he's not playing well enough. The Islanders are in San Jose now that San Jose's got their first win. I think they're on their way to getting back to 500, and I think they do it at the expense of the New York Islanders. So 14 games. As I said, I work until 5 o'clock today my time, 8 o'clock Eastern. These games are going to be fun. Last time I checked, let me check it again, because that'll be coming up. Where's it? Here. Let me just refresh this. There's 4 hours left in it, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to change. 148 votes. 83% are saying I should do a live stream while these games are on. 17% are saying no. I wanted to know because there is a lot of hockey on, and I wanted to see if the games are going to be something that I'm going to be watching alone, or if you guys wanted me to hang out and do a Q&A/live stream during them. So it appears that the results are pointing towards me doing a live stream during the games when I get home. So look for that. It'll probably be about, I'm going to say 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, with apologies to Emily, who's got homecoming. I didn't plan it that way, I promise. But for the rest of you, if you're going to be around, come hang out for the live stream. Thank you for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, and I'll talk to you again soon.